Hello and good morning to everyone. Welcome to our webinar this morning. It is Wednesday, the 29th, and I'll wish to welcome all of us. Thank you for honoring our invite just to come and share this wonderful topic around emotional intelligence. I hope you're able to learn and pick a few lessons as we go. Ideally, the way we structure our webinars is we'll try to cover the presentation part for the first 45 minutes and then have a Q&A at the tail end of about 15 minutes. So we'll just start and see how that goes. But once again, thank you so much for joining this workplace webinar series. We're running them for the whole of this quarter. So we have so many more other topics, not just this one, but many others that are coming up to the end of March or April, thereabout. So today we'll be covering the topic around intelligence and self-awareness. I hope everyone is able to hear me. If you are, you can give me a thumbs up or wave so that I know we are together and then we'll start. Awesome. All right. So emotional intelligence. I know we keep asking ourselves, what is this emotional intelligence? Lately, it has become a big topic, especially in our workplace. So, for us, is to help us one understand what is emotional intelligence, demystify theories around emotional intelligence. So, we are hoping by the end of this webinar, you'll be able to become your best self, which automatically will lead to a greater job satisfaction, better collaboration with your colleagues or your uh, the people that you work with, and an increased overall performance. So we're hoping the way if you are able to understand what is emotional intelligence, and specifically for our training this morning, we'll focus more on one of the attributes of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness. So ride with me this ride. It's a long one. It's 1 hour, but let's see how that goes. So first of all, I'll want to define what is an emotion, so that also we get it correct from even before we start. So from the basic, emotion is something that we're able to experience, and also it's a response that we give, either voluntary or involuntary. So the fact that if you experience something, so assume you hurt yourself or you fall down and you feel the pain now is the emotion. Then the other part of intelligence is understanding, or intelligence is having awareness of something. So assume you go to school, you learn something, then you get intelligence in that particular area. So emotional intelligence is like learning what these feelings or experiences and the responses that you get to give now back to the world. So for this morning, I'd like you to give me some of the responses, some of the emotions you're feeling this morning. So let us put them on the chat box. What is the emotion that you're feeling this morning? Forget about the emotional intelligence, but what is the emotion that you're feeling this morning? Let me see a few of them coming up on my screen. Anxiety, I wonder why. Calm, other people are feeling the emotion of calm. The chat box is there. Also, if you have a question, feel free to put it on the chat box. I'll try to cover them as we go or at the very tail end. Anxiety, calm. All right. For those who are anxious, I'll want to know why you're feeling anxiety. So now we define what is emotional intelligence as a combination of the two words. I've tried to explain to you what is an emotion and also what is intelligence. Now, if we put them together to form emotional intelligence, now emotional intelligence is the ability, one, to recognize. So, like the people who are saying they're feeling panic, they're feeling happy, they're feeling anxious. So, they're able to recognize this is the feeling I'm feeling at this point. All right. So that is the first part. Then we move to understanding. So you understand that emotion. So it's the same question I've asked. The people who are feeling anxious, will you know what is causing the anxiety? You know, and then kindly, backend team, help me to mute a few people. Also, mute yourself so that we don't interrupt. So I've said number one is to recognize. Two is to understand. Either you understand where it is coming from or what you're reacting to. That causes an understanding. And then we go now move to manage. Manage, I'll still talk more about it as we go on. So emotional intelligence is that ability to one recognize. I know I'm anxious, I'm calm, I'm expectant, I'm feeling like I'm in a panic. Then understanding where is all this emotion coming from, or what am I reacting to that is causing this emotion, and then be able to manage one your own emotions, and two, so emotional intelligence is divided into two parts. One is the one that you have to delete for yourself, and then also delete for the other party. So that is the other part where it says effectively recognizing and responding to the emotions of others. So assume you walk to my office this morning and you're crying. What will be my reaction? Or will I say, "What are you? Him talk?" Okay. So you see, that is the space of emotional intelligence. So why emotional intelligence is important, especially at the workplace. One, it helps us communicate effectively. Last week we covered effective communication. So the moment you're able to understand your own emotion, to know your own emotions, and also quickly recognize for others and also understand them, then you're able to communicate effectively. You're able to make decisions. They might not be the fastest decisions, but you'll be able to quickly, not quickly, but you're able to be in a position to make decisions. And also, you're able to manage the relationships that are around you. So, that is the purpose or the biggest reason why we want to learn about emotional intelligence. So, this in turn will affect or create a very positive work environment. So, the day I walk into the office and I feel like I am sad, my colleagues can quickly notice that Purity is sad and be able to try and manage or help me manage that particular situation. So, what are these components of emotional intelligence? Elijah, please mute yourself. Uh, all right. So, what are the components of emotional intelligence? In an ideal circumstance, or we are able to do an emotional intelligence test. I think a few people are not muted. Please let us mute. So I'm saying emotional intelligence, there's a test that you're able to do for emotional intelligence. If you've never done an emotional intelligence test, let us know. We can send you a link after this webinar so that you also figure out what are you good at, or where do you need to work on when you talk about emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is divided into five parts. So if you do this test, or if you've ever done this test, it will give you five different results. So the first one is self-awareness. So, and self-awareness, this one I had already started with. It's the ability to recognize and also understand your own emotion. All right. And by understanding, or recognizing and understanding, then you know I'm very good in with dealing with these emotions, and also I'm not very good with dealing these other types of emotions. And then the other one is self regulation. So once you identify these are my emotions, or this is what triggers my emotions, am I able to regulate? Regulate is like managing or controlling. Because some people, you'll hear them in meetings or in, like, just in life, they say, I don't like when I get angry, or when I get angry, a lot of things go wrong. So you see, when they're able to recognize that emotion of getting angry, so the other question should come: are you able to control that this emotion does not get the best out of me. Because if I know if I get angry, things go wrong, what can I do such that, because getting angry might not be inevitable. So, what will happen if I get angry? How can I manage that situation? So, the other one is emotional intelligence creates motivation for us. So, if I'm able to know, that is the awareness, I'm able to manage, that is the regulation, then I get motivated to be able to easily manage all these emotions, all right? Such that I know if I get angry, this is how I can react. If I get happy, this is at the limit of that getting happy, in that state of happiness. And then the other one is empathy. Empathy, in the simplest of terms, is putting yourself in the other person's shoes. All right. So, for example, if I come and tell you my child is sick, can you easily relate or put yourself in my shoes that my child is sick and I quickly need time off to go either home or go to the hospital and take care of my child? So that is empathy. So if depending on different situations that you put in, or the other people are also put in, are you able to easily put of assume you're in that position, and how would you react to that? Then is the social skills. Social skills is what creates a summation of all of this. So the better you become at one, recognizing your own emotions, regulating emotions, motivating yourself to always do better when it comes to your emotions, and also being in a position to put yourself in other people's shoes, then you'll find out automatically your social skills will go high. So for those who either have ever done this test or will do this test, you'll find like if you're not very good at the first four, automatically your social skills score becomes very low. But else, other people, one, they can be very good at awareness, but very poor at regulation. All right. Or also, they could be very good at awareness and regulation. Then they are very poor when you introduce another party when it comes to emotions, and that is empathy. So that is the components of emotional intelligence. But for today, you'll see, like, we'll put a lot more focus on the self awareness part. Okay, so this is how this looks like, the interconnectedness between emotional intelligence as like an umbrella body. So how does self-awareness meet self-regulation, meet motivation, meet empathy, and meet social skills? So these one, at the point that they meet, is where now we start creating harmony or creating a certain flow, and also effectiveness when you talk about emotions. Because I know, for example, I think this a theory, I'm not too sure, that people say men do not get hurt, men do not cry. So you see, that's they're denying them one part of, or two parts of emotional intelligence. One is, if they're hurting, will they recognize it? Or is it because if they are men, they'll not recognize that hurt as an emotion? So that is how all these five of them become one big web, now what we call emotional intelligence. So you could be good at one and maybe work in progress in another one. But what you need to be aware is emotional intelligence is all the five parts. So one day you might excel in one, the other day not so well. But I think the motivation should be that once you recognize, then you also quickly be able to manage. And once you manage, you keep on onto the habit of maintaining or recognizing and managing, then quickly now adopt or know how to handle other people and their emotions. And then overall, you become a better social being, even at the workplace. So that is how all this emotional intelligence comes into play. All right. Now, to our biggest topic, self awareness. What is self awareness? I think I've majorly defined what is self awareness. So, back again, it's just the ability to recognize and understand. So, however you think, or whenever you think about self-awareness, just think, or this morning when I asked how are we feeling, how, what is the emotion is coming out, already you've made that first step of recognizing today is a good day, I'm feeling happy about it, today is a good day, I'm excited about it, today is not a very good day, I'm very anxious. And when I ask what are you anxious about, you should quickly recognize what is either causing the anxiety, or what is are you reacting to that is causing this anxiety. So, if, self awareness is how you feel, why you're feeling that way, and how your emotions influence your actions. I know some, especially if you work in office setups, some people come in the morning and they announce at the door, today is not a good day. Please do not come stepping on my toes. So you see, this person already has recognized the emotion. Now they're trying to see, or to see how they can manage it, and so by doing that they are automatically giving warnings around, do not come, don't bring your games here to me today. So do you see, these are common conversations that are happening in the workplace. So either they are aware of their emotions, or that's their understanding without necessarily knowing that now they have a higher emotional intelligence quotient, that the fact that they can quickly recognize, know how it's going to influence other people, and then also announcing today is not a good day, so please don't come stepping on my toes. So what is the significance of being self-aware? Self awareness is one a very great good skill to have, because the moment you are self aware, then how you respond to people, how you react to situations, how you react to circumstances, you react from a place of awareness. So you might people you'll react thoughtfully, or you react from a calculated or a processed point of view. So that is the purpose of being self-aware. So individuals are able to respond thoughtfully than impulsively. I see people, especially this one, I relate it more when people are angry. So after that phase of anger has passed, they're like, oh no, I should not have done that. So you see, that is where they reacted impulsively. And they only reacted that because they were not self aware that this is the emotion they're having or experiencing. So, what are some of the strategies we can use to cultivate self awareness? To cultivate is like to groom or to grow or to develop. So, what are some of these ways we can use to now to develop this self awareness? Because self awareness, you must be intentional about it. You cannot just wake up one morning and say, from today I'm going to be self aware. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. So it starts from the point like, I need to know, I need to quickly recognize my emotions. And once I recognize them, what do I do after recognizing them? All right. So now on top of the list, there is mindfulness technique. We'll do this one just before we finish our webinar. That will be very interesting. Then I'll show you how to go about it. Then you can do journaling. Journaling is you have a notebook, you keep around. Today we have phones. You can also keep notes on your phones, such that if anything happens in your day that will trigger any sort of emotion, you're able to note it down. Maybe it's someone talked to you in a certain way you did not like, or someone did something or said something. So that one you did not like or appreciate, then you note it down, such that next time if as the same scenario happens, then you're able to also quickly go back to your notes and figure out, was this the same experience that I had that triggered this kind of emotion? And also seeking feedback. This could be from your colleagues, from your family, from your friends, and even just asking them, what do you think about my emotions? What do you think triggers me? Or what do you think makes me happy? What makes me sad? What makes me anxious? So this is just seeking feedback. from those people that are around you, because some things might be very, you're able to see them, but others you're not able to see them. So unless you ask someone else, that's the only time it might come to your attention. By the way, this is how I behave, or this is how I act in different circumstances. So other strategies, I've put them so many down there. So one, you can start with an assessment, like a test, figure out where you stand. You can do daily check-ins, just find out today, how was the day? You note it down through a journal, reflect on triggers. If something happens and you reacted, how was that? Practice empathy. Empathy, I've said, is putting yourself in other people's shoes. Explore past experiences. So this is just go back in your mind and ask, what exactly happened, or how would I have wanted to react if this thing was to happen again? Solicit diverse opinions. That one is almost like seeking feedback. Set intentional goals. This one I had already mentioned. This one you have to be very intentional about being self-aware. Then pay attention to physical sensations. This could be, a lot of people call it gut feeling, so you also have to go with it, or intuition. So what is your brain telling you, that you need to pay attention to? Practice active listening. This one we went through it in our last webinar. The part of active listening. Cultivate curiosity. I think this is just being curious and find out what will happen if I was in that scenario, or how would I have reacted if I was the one. Maybe a confrontation happened, and then step out of your comfort zone. I know our comfort zones are very comfortable, but you need to now try new territories, all right? And then seek professional help. This could be therapy, could be counseling, and all that. So those are some of the ways you can work on you being self-aware. All right. So we'll do this exercise. I've told you about mindfulness. It will take like 2 minutes. So please don't drop off. We are not dropping off from the webinar. So please don't drop off as I play a video, and then we'll follow the instructions of the video. This will take just a second. So I'm going to play a video. So please don't drop off. Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing the voice from my video. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you managed to do that mindfulness. We'll go back to our presentation now. Just give me a second. I project it. So, how was that experience? Can I hear from a few people before I continue? Have you ever done mindfulness before? Either also we can put it on the chat box. How was the experience? Did we uh, how was it? Or is it something you think you can practice or start doing? Okay, I see Grace is saying it brought some calmness and tranquility, which is nice. So, and as I was saying, the more we do these things, the more they also become very natural to us. All right. So, the aim is to try and incorporate it also in your day to day life. It's possible. It could be like that clip was only like 3 minutes. So it's small efforts that we keep doing that create these significant, significant impact on our lives. Eh? Diana is saying it's not an easy practice. You get a lot of thoughts streaming in. It's for sure that can happen. But you see, the more you train your mind at doing these things, then maybe the fourth, the fifth time, then once you play some calm music, then now you're able to practice the the mindfulness. And then my thoughts wandered off a lot. I know, like today, the world, I think it's so noisy, and we excel at the noisiness of the world. So the best we can do is keep trying these mindfulness practices. All right. So I think a few people, the mind was wandering off, but I hope now it's back to our webinar as we continue. So, what is the importance of self awareness? So, because now we've done the mindfulness, we've asked our friends for their opinions, we've asked our colleagues, why is this so important to us? There are a few reasons why it is important. So, these are just few reasons. I noted them down as I was preparing for this class, but there are many more others, also depending on the scenario that you're in. So the good thing is just see what how beneficial it can be for you. Then you get try to get the best out of self-awareness. So number one is enhanced decision making. Earlier we've already said you're not making decisions out of instinct, or you're not impulsive, so if you're able to take your time, understand what emotion is there, try to regulate it, then you're able to make a better decision. Then you automatically become an effective communicator. Then you have healthy relationships all around you. People are not getting hurt, you're also not getting hurt, because now emotions have been involved. Then another big benefit is self stress management. So because the moment you recognize this emotion and you know it's going to cause you stress, then you see how best to manage it. So in the long run, then you're also managing stress. Professional growth, this one for sure. We do not promote people who rant or who become chaotic in the work environment. So the better you become at self-awareness and emotional intelligence overall, then the better chances you have for professional growth. And then there's leadership effectiveness. And for sure, you'll see a lot of leaders that we have, we almost say they're very mature. But why do you think we say they're mature? It's because they now also know how to they know how to recognize or know their emotions, and also quickly know how to regulate these emotions. They know how to empathize with others. They know how to, their social skills are on top. So that's why we say these leaders are mature, but they're not mature per se. It's only that they're very good at emotional intelligence. Then conflict resolution. I know one of the many topics we have in this webinar series is conflict resolution that will come a bit later into the series. So we'll also show you how to resolve conflicts in the midst of you being hurt, you crying, you not feeling so happy, you feeling anxious. Then how are we able to objectively or in a calm or in a very balanced way resolve these conflicts where we at the end of the day we end up with a win-win situation for those people that are conflicting. And then overall is personal fulfillment, and I think this is the best, because anytime you're put in a certain situation, you'll never be worried about it, because you know, I know who I am, I know how I can manage myself. So this one always will be working confidently, not always being worried. What if I go see that person and they upset me? How will I act? So you see, so that is these are just a few of the benefits or the importance of self-awareness. So moving on, so how do we apply all this self-awareness in challenging situations? Because remember we said problems are inevitable. You're bound to conflict with someone at work, you're bound to feel bad, you're bound to also feel happy. So but on the challenging part, how do you handle these circumstances in these situations? All right. So I'll give you different scenarios, and then I think I'll just give you like 2 or 3 minutes to react to these scenarios, and then we proceed. So the scenario here: imagine you're in a team meeting where opinions are divided about a project approach. Your colleague strongly disagrees with your proposed solution, right? In the heat of the discussion, you notice feelings of frustration and defensiveness arising within you. How might recognizing these emotions before responding lead to a more productive outcome? So, this one, a few people can unmute their mics and give us feedback, or you put it on the chat box, I'll read it out. Anyone who wants to go? Also, you can raise your hand, then we can give you a chance. All right, Grace. Grace, and then human resource manager to go next. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And I totally agree with you, Grace. Let's hear from HRM. Hi, Charity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. And thank you so much, Charity and Grace, for your contribution. I also see Jason saying it can prevent you from spewing. hurtful words, and that is true. And you see, these are real scenarios that happen at our workplace. In some meetings, I see when people walking out because I want to assume that person who is walking out, it has reached a point they can't either manage that emotion anymore. So the best is to walk out. And you see, and I think the most important is just recognizing and not start strategizing how best can I get out of this situation. So thank you so much for the three of you who has shared inputs there. So this is the self-assessment I was talking about, and there's so many self-assessments in the market. So you can equally also do like a SWOT analysis, just to figure out where you are in terms of emotional intelligence. SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that is also can give you an honest evaluation or can give you an honest opinion of where you are at. If this is something you'll be interested to do, we also have a template for it. So just also let us know. You can share it when you're sharing these whole training materials. You can share it with you at your comfort. You can do it and see if what we're saying in the webinar is correlating also with what has come out of the results. So with SWOT analysis, and this is very good, so if you get the opportunity, do the SWOT analysis on top of the emotional intelligence assessment. Because with SWOT analysis, the S part, the strength, you want to make the best out of your strengths. All right. So with your weaknesses, also you want to convert the weaknesses to become your strengths. Because you say, if I get angry fast, by default that is a weakness, eh? So how can you get this anger stop becoming a weakness for you and start becoming a strength? Then do you have opportunities? You also try to see how can I get also the best out of the opportunities that I have, such that they also work towards your benefit. And the threats, these are the threats, especially, are things that are outside your control. All right. So, unlike weaknesses, weaknesses are within you. All right. But with threats, there are things that are happening outside you. Maybe someone abused you or someone called you a wrong word. So, you see, these are things that are external of you. All right. So, how do you manage or how do you uh, prevent or hinder them from you making your progress? Because assume you said this morning you wake up in the right spirit and said, I'm going to I'm going to regulate my emotions. Then, right outside the door at the bus stop, the Makanga talks to you badly. So, you see, the Makanga person is a threat to your emotional intelligence. All right? Because this person is now outside your control. You'll not be able to control how, one, they talk to you or how they will even react after you talk to them. So, those are potential threats. So, with things that are outside your control, try to either proactive means jumping ahead of the situation or going before. All right. So you can try and figure out how can I avoid such an incident either happening again in future, and or if I'm already in the situation, how can I prevent it from uh, going worse than the way it is? So that's those are strengths. Weaknesses, the first two are internal, they are within you. Then opportunities and threats are outside of you. So you need to figure out how can I merge the things that are within me and also the things that are outside of me. Eric, I see your hand is up. Do you want to talk? All right, let's continue. There's a comment from Hadassah. I also think recognizing that we are two different human beings with two different perspectives, I'll come myself to get to see or learn from their point of view. I think that was from the question that we were doing earlier. So thank you, Hadassah, for that. So strategies to accurate self-assessment. So I've told you that all these many assessments going around. I know my colleague was asking me, does personality fall into this class? Personality is a whole topic on itself, you know. So depending on where you are, I think you will try to do as many assessments as possible. Because you see, also, for example, if you also do a personality test, it will also give you attributes or triggers that will easily be associated with your personality. So I think the best is, if you have the time, if you have the energy, do as many as possible, because also they gives it now also brings you to the level of self-awareness. So even if we do all these assessments, doing is one part of that work, all right? But then how do we maintain, or what do we use with the information that you've already gotten? Because remember, I said it's emotional intelligence. So one is recognizing, the other part is learning, or getting information out of it. All right. So one is self-reflection, feedback solicitation. This one I already talked about, where you get feedback from your friends, your peers, your colleagues, and also learning from mistakes. If an incident will happen today at work, and the same incident is to be repeated maybe 2 months from now, I'll want to see the same person but reacting two different ways, because now incident one, they were not aware. But now incident two, I want to assume they're aware and they've picked lessons from it. Okay. So self-confidence. So you'll see, the more we learn about emotional intelligence or self-awareness, then it quickly also starts building up on our confidence. And I think I said this earlier when we were starting. You'll not be afraid to get into situations, because you already know who you are and how you'll ideally respond in such a situation. All right. So self confidence is the ability in one's is unwavering belief in one's abilities, competence, and values as an individual. All right. So with self confidence, it's both very personal to you, and it will help you navigate your daily life, whether be it success, be it challenges, be it hard decisions you need to make. So the more you are self-aware, also your confidence level quickly goes up. So strategies to cultivating self-confidence. So strategies, I've said, it's another way of saying ways of growing or developing your self-confidence. So number one is to understand your value, which is important. Know, what am I worth? What am I bringing to this table? What benefits are they getting out of me or out of my situation? And then believe in your abilities. Have faith in what you are good at, or the skills that you bring in. All right. Also have a positive self-image. Today, I see a lot of people are doing affirmations. I am strong. I am beautiful. I can do this. So all this affirmation is trying to develop a positive image about yourself. The other one is resilience. Resilience is keeping a hard skin, regardless of the situation you're put in. You are there, and but you know you're there, and you know you're definitely coming to get out of it. And then confidently make decisions. And I think especially the part of decision making, that's where you know if someone is confident or not. If you hesitate, we know, you're not too sure about this decision. But you see, if you grow in your self confidence, then it's very easy to confidently make decisions as and when they come. And then effective self management. This one we already said, just knowing what needs to be done, what needs to be achieved, how do I prioritize, how do I manage my time. So that all that comes or falls under self management. And then risk taking. I know some of us are risk averse, but with confidence, you're not worried about taking a risk, right? And then the influence you have on others, because I know we attract the people who are like us, all right? So imagine if you are a confident person, I want to assume you'll also attract Also very confident people, or people will admire you for that confidence and they'll want to be like you. So where is this balancing? The balancing act between self assessment or self-awareness and self-confidence, where does it meet? Because it's a very tricky balance, because I've said the more self-aware you become, the more self-confident you also become. So it's a very tricky balance to be at, because you can't be one and not the other. This is a skill that ideally will go hand in hand together. So, with assessment or self awareness, you get to know your strengths, your areas of improvement. You know when you need, especially once you know your abilities, you'll know when you are overestimating or you are underestimating or underrepresenting. Then on this other side of the scale, now you start looking for new opportunities, new ventures. So so this one almost works like the SWOT analysis, or the SWOT. Yes, let me call it SWOT analysis, because now the self awareness and the self confidence will both impact who you are internally and also what is outside of you now in the external. So go out there, be self aware, because being self aware, it also means now you're also promoting your self confidence. All right, application. How do we apply this in our day to day life? All right, so I'm going to ask a few questions. So, one is share a recent achievement and a challenge you overcome. So, this is an open forum. Feel free to answer a question. You can raise your hand, we'll give you an opportunity, or you put it on the chat box. I'm happy to read it out. And to discuss the role of self assessment and self confidence in your experience. So you can either give us a scenario around a challenge or an achievement. Anyone can go. Eric, I see your hand is up. All right. I see Simon saying, in case of disagreement, first acknowledge the situation and stay calm as you listen actively. I think maybe that's a question I had asked earlier. Anyone who wants to respond to this? If not, we will go ahead because of time. So, this is a question, I'll leave it to you guys. So, once you get the notes, you can go over it. Being your best self at work, because now we've talked about self awareness and emotional intelligence. I hope in future webinars we'll be able to cover these other components around emotional intelligence, but for now I felt like it was important to just put more focus on self-awareness. All right, so we this theme stresses on the importance of self-growth, definitely, because after being, especially at work, I think it requires us to almost always behave very maturely, so so in the process of behaving maturely, I think it's also good that we get some of these things or these skills on our way. All right, so with self awareness, it not only empowers you as an individual, but also it gives you an opportunity to excel at a personal level and also at a professional level. So I think the aim here is always strive to be the best, all right, regardless of the situation that we have been put in. Even if that situation, I know there's a common saying going around, especially now, if they go low, we also go low with them. All right. But me, I'll want to adopt what Michelle Obama said. If they go low, I go high, So I think, and for example, just adopting such a small line that if they go low, I go high, that is making me present myself in the best way possible, even at work. So integration between emotional intelligence, especially at the workplace. So how or where is this applicable? Because I know some people will say, or some workplaces will say, leave your emotions at the gate. Do not bring your emotions at work. Yet I feel like that's not a very practical statement, especially being said by leaders or managers or supervisors, because we are not able to separate people and their emotions. Actually, people emotions make up these people. So I think it's important to not look at people as separate entities from emotions. So, however they come or they present themselves with all these emotions, then they need to go hand in hand. So, emotional intelligence is not just limited for our personal lives, but also quickly impacts how we work, how we perform our work, how we how we interact with our colleagues, our managers, our supervisors, those people who report to us. That's how it affects us. All right. So, and it will affect issues around work like team dynamics, communication, conflict resolution, decision making. So, all these are parts and parcels of work that require emotional intelligence. So, by applying emotional intelligence at work, we are also bringing out better workplaces. We have a better work culture in our organization and all that. So, a few examples I had given from a workplace perspective are demonstrating empathy when addressing colleagues' concerns. I gave the example, if I come and say, my child is sick, I need to step out, you'll not tell me you'll go at 5 p.m. because your working hours is between 8 and 5 p.m. Managing stress effectively during high pressure projects, adapting communication styles to match different team members' needs. This one we really talked at depth in the last week. So, what is also now the connection between emotional intelligence and effective teamwork? Because all these, as much as it looks like it's me kind of work, but also how does it impact teamwork at our organizations? So number one is communication. So the more you are aware, whether it's verbal communication, non-verbal. We talked about body language. What is your body language communicating from an emotional point of view? Then conflict resolutions, as and when conflicts arise, how do you manage it? And then synergies. We are better together as a team than working alone. All right. So the moment I know I can excel better in a team than working alone, how will I bring that out when we come to now talking or working as a team? So, emotional intelligence is the cornerstone for building resilience and high performance teams. So, what are some of the tips? I'll give you tips for emotional intelligence, especially at the workplace. So, number one is effective communication. And effective communication is said it's communicating for or with impact. You just don't communicate, but you have a purpose for it. Then there's empathy and teamwork. There's conflict resolution. This one I had mentioned. Stress management, adaptability, and resilience. Then positive feedback and recognition, that you're able to clap for someone when you see that they acted or they behaved or they managed well a situation. Then there's the cultural sensitivity and diversity. And I think that's the same. I read a comment earlier that was saying, if I walk into a situation and I know I am different, people are different, I'm bound to also act differently based on the situation I'm already put in. I'm happy to take a few questions for the 5 minutes that are remaining. Either you can raise your hand if you have a question. I'm happy to take it. If not, you can put it on the chat box. I'm also happy to answer it before we close. Just before I take any questions, there's a feedback form that has been put on the chat box. Make sure you fill the feedback form. It is also the form that you are requesting for a certificate for this session. That's the only way we know you came for the training, for the webinar. So it will be good that you put your information there so that also we are able to process a certificate for you at the end of this webinar. We'll also share the notes with the names. No, We'll share the notes on the emails and the WhatsApp phone numbers you've provided for us. So it will be good if you fill the feedback form. Thank you. So let the questions come before 12 noon. Any questions? Any questions? Hi, are you able to hear me? Oh, sorry, I think I dropped. Maybe it was internet challenges. All right. Jensen is saying, purity. I'm in a situation where my poor EQ has costed me relationships, work related relationships. Can I salvage the situation and get back in their good books? Of course. And I think this happens very often. But I think now that you're aware, it's emotion that is getting you in such bad books. You might start working towards being aware. We'll talk about conflict management at some point in this series of webinars. So I think that's something you might want to look out for. But the first thing is to recognize and start working on knowing, how can I manage my emotions better? How can I react in situations? It would be a good thing to also go to the person that you are in bad books with. First of all, apologize sincerely and tell them, look here, I'm working on myself. I hope to become better. Give me feedback, because you remember we talked about feedback. So also ask them for feedback. What can you tell me that you think I need to start working on? And once I start working on it, how does I give me also feedback if you see any sort of improvement? All right. Esther, your hand is up. Do you want to go now? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Mm, yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Esther, and for that. And I think this is a big topic, based especially on your insights that you can explore more. I think Jensen is asking Esther, how can I reach you? I think it's good you put if you put your number there, so that they can also reach you. So does being tough? This is the last question. Does being tough translate to low EQ? I don't think it does, because this toughness, I want to assume it's our the surrounding or the environment that we are in. So you need now to start working on becoming a softer you know. So start working on being softer, or not being so hard all the time. So I think there's more that you can do around that space, for Eric. So without much further ado, make sure you take the feedback form, fill it up, give us feedback on how the webinar was. We hope to see you next week. Next week we have a lot around performance management. So if you're in charge of employees or you're in charge of a business, come and learn more about what it means to manage performance, what you need to look out for in terms of people who are performing well and also who are not performing well. So, and that is it for from me here. Emmanuel, I see your hand is up. Do you want to say anything before we close? Yes. Mhm, mhm, mm. I think, one, the Gen Z generation in the workplace is a total different breed from what we are used to. And I know there are also a lot of justifications, like the one you're saying, we listen, but we do not judge. So it's justifications. And I think, especially handling Gen Zs will be very different on how we are handling millennials in the same workplace. So go listen to them, interact with them, figure out what exactly they're saying, and also what they're not saying or not telling you. So by the end of the day, you are able to come to a compromise that, yes, I know this is your way of thinking, this is your way of handling things, but also this is our workplace. We need to achieve the goals and the purpose that have brought us here. So I think the best way is talk to them, become friends to them, figure out what is the best compromise state you're able to get to, and to also make the work environment conducive, and also you're able to promote performance. So, and I think I wish to stop there. We've exceeded with about 5 minutes. I'm so sorry for that. But let's go take these practices to our workplace. We look forward to seeing you to next week's webinar. We have so many webinars planned out. So also make a visit to visit our website, see what webinars we've planned for. Follow us on our social media platforms, see different opportunities that are coming up for learning, for also having fun. So that is it from us at Accurex, and thank you so much for joining us. this morning and afternoon. Until next time, have a very wonderful afternoon. Thank you.